watching Fox 13's Good Day Tampa Bay.
Well, credit scores vary wildly, 300 to 850. Most of us fall somewhere in the middle, but there is always room for improvement. And this morning, we're speaking with attorney James Giardina from the Consumer Rights Law Group. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
Thanks for being here. I know it's probably a later evening for you yesterday, and you had to get up early to get here.
Last night was a lot of fun, yeah, 4th of July.
Very good. So before we get to the best ways to raise your credit score, we're wondering what's the average score and what's considered maybe a good score?
Okay, so a good score is 650 or above, right? And that's around average, and that's what they consider good. That doesn't mean if you've got a 600 credit score or you have even a 550 that you necessarily have a bad credit score. But you know, the higher your score is, the better your rates are going to be. The more opportunities you're going to have to sort of save money when you're lending, and the higher your balances are going. Not balances, but the higher your account limits are going to be.
And so for those folks who are going, okay, so maybe I'm below average, or maybe I have a good score, but I wanted to get it, better. Are there ways that folks can do that?
Yeah, sure. Well, primarily, the number one way to raise your credit score is to pay your bills, right? If you're not paying your bills, if you're behind in your debts, your credit score is going to go down, right? And remember, credit score, it's only a snapshot of a moment in time, right? Because all of our credit scores every month that we pay our bills and that payment is recorded with the bureaus is going to change our score. And hopefully improve it. And credit scores are based not just on payment history, but they're also based on the length of the account. So for example, a credit card that you've had for 30 years is going to really anchor your credit score and show the banks, because the goal is to show the banks your credit risk. And if they see that you've had this account for 30 years and you've never been late in 30 years, you're going to look like a solid investment for them. So to answer your question, the number one way that you can pay your credit score, that you can increase your credit score, is to pay your bills. Don't be late.
And I'm just wondering, how long would it take to maybe repair your credit if you're like, okay, I want to get on this, I want to start making these payments on time?
Okay, so repair and a credit score should always, a credit report should always reflect accurately what's going on in your life. Things that can't be on your credit report are things that are untrue or that are unverifiable. And if there's something like that on your credit score, then maybe that would be called credit repair. You want to get something like that off. But generally speaking, if you haven't paid your bills, the best way to repair your credit score is to start paying your bills. Now, if you're a lot of people, they're on the cusp, right? You've got your bills and your credit score is coming. You're watching your credit score every week or every month or something like that. There's a couple things you should know. The first is that a late payment can't be reported to the credit bureaus until you're 30 days past due. So if you're a day or two late, whether or not you have a grace period, a day or two late isn't going to change your credit score. But things that your credit score is made up of items from your credit report, right? And the things that affect your score are things like public records, like bankruptcies and mortgages, right? Revolving credit accounts. Credit accounts that are secured by some kind of collateral, like a car loan. There's also inquiries. The amount of times that you apply for a credit card judges your risk too. So if you are applying, for example, apply for 10 cards in one day, your credit score, your credit report is going to get hit by 10 inquiries, and your score is going to reflect accordingly, right? And so, all things being equal, you apply 10 times in one day, I apply only once in one day, my score will be higher. So another thing you can do to increase your credit score is don't apply for anything. Now, if you do find an inaccuracy in your credit report, something that's unverifiable or inaccurate, there's a law, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, and what it says, federal law, and it says that everything on your report has to be true. And it also gives the credit bureaus a responsibility to investigate 30 days after they get your letter. If they fail to investigate in those 30 days, it's got to come off your credit report. If it doesn't, they owe you damages. They have to pay you.
Very interesting subject, and I wish we could talk about it more in depth, but we got to leave it there.
Next time.
Thank you so much, Jim. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And we'll just remind you once again that the lawyers will be in studio answering your legal questions.
Okay. Thank you.